person, and I do not really have much discrimination towards.
Hello guys, my name is Gloria Nkiru Ifekwalugo. I am from Nigeria, of course in Africa. I've been living in this axis, in this part of the world, South America, for let's say 2 years now, and I've been moving around from one country to the other, teaching English as a second language. Some of my friends in the past times have been asking me about racism in this part of the world. Racism is something I've decided not to talk about since I've been here, but I've always got questions how far about racism. Today I've been forced to talk about racism, how we felt here, and how much real racism is, in different forms, in different ways. I have experienced racism in this part of the world. I have 100 ways running to thousands how I've experienced racism in this part of the world. I've experienced racism as a teacher trying to teach English to kids in this axis, and some of the kids will be like, "Who are you, this black girl, to come teach me with white skin?" They'll be giving you like that look and like, what? Yes, I've experienced racism in co-teaching. You being with maybe a Spanish teacher who happens to speak English, who learns to speak English, and she will be like, "Who is this black girl to come teach with me in the same class, co-teaching with me, with white skin," stuff like that. I've had this experience of racism in public transportation, buses, trains, taxi, where you have to stop a taxi man and the taxi doesn't want to stop because you have a dark skin. I've had racism, I've experienced racism in job selection, the most heartbreaking one. I've experienced racism in job selection. I remember here when I had an interview with a school. This organization, they are in charge of recruiting English teachers, and they send to schools who have demand for English teachers from them. And I had this interview, and at the end of the day, I had one lady, a Spanish lady, and they're both Spanish people, but one speaks English, the other doesn't speak English. And the one who doesn't speak English was telling the other one in Spanish she didn't know I understand Spanish. She said, "She's a genius, she's great, but the school preferred someone with a white skin. So what do we do now?" And of course, at the end of the day, you get compliments, you are good, you are stuff like that, and we will get back to you, and that never happens. Why? Because they placed value on skin color and not on your certificate, not on how much education you have, not on your skills, not on your experience on the job, but on the color of the skin. The only time I've experienced people from the white supremacists think there's something unique about the dark skin is when they want to dig your pussy, or they want to dig your dick, or when they're sick and dying and they need a kidney transplant or liver. They want that of a black, I don't call it black anyway, that of a dark skin, because science says it's stronger. Yeah, that is the only time I've seen people from the white supremacists think there's something unique about the dark skin. So having said all these things, this now brings me to the introduction of the topic I have on racism, which is how to deal with racism. Because the fact is, it's there, it's real, and it's not going away anytime soon. I'm going to start with what a friend of mine told me last night, because last night I really had the height of racism. The way I experienced it last night, I've never in my life experienced it that way. So, and I was really mad, I was really crazy. And he called me, said, "Gloria, you don't need to be mad, you don't need to be sad over this. Because for a fact, racism is something that is real, it's there, and it's not going away. What you need to do is to find a way to deal with racism. You just need to know how to deal with racism." And that's what the best thing, the best truth I've heard so far. So right now we're going to go ahead to see some opinion from some people, because I went ahead to ask some people how best they think we can deal with racism. Yeah, because I realized this is the only thing we have to do. So let's just watch, because some people were willing to make videos and send to me. Some people were willing to write and send to me. So let's see some of these videos. Okay, Disney, you know, as we are here, some sort of racism acts have been going on. And to me, coming from Africa is very new to me and to some of us. So the concept is, I'm not trying to find a way to erase racism. We are trying to find a way to deal with it. Because like I said, it's new to us and most times we are lost. So we want to know your opinion on maybe the best way to deal with it. And maybe if you've experienced racism in any way, you're free to talk about it.
Okay, I believe that the best way to deal with racism, especially being in a new environment, is to continue to be respectful, like continue to do your own, whatever it is that you're doing at the moment, but to decide whether the comments that are being made or the actions that are taken, if it's worth your time to address in a situation. You know, if, for instance, someone is causing physical harm towards you, then I would definitely say that you should address it, maybe with superiors, authority, whomever it is that can act on in your defense. But if not, a lot of times you're going to have to push forward and ignore the comments that are made and just do as you were doing beforehand. I personally think that I haven't dealt with blatant racism to my face. It's kind of more subtle racism, and to that, again, it's just continue to do what you're doing. Like it's not your duty to prove to anyone, you know, why you're deserving of respect. You just show it with your character.
Yeah, thank you so very much.
Just a disclaimer, I'm a white person and I do not really have much discrimination towards me. Sometimes people, well, for example, here, it isn't really so much racism as, you know, oh, this gringo, you know, this who's this guy, kind of. And they can treat me kind of like a dupe or someone that they can pick on and because it's Colombia. But that's not so much racism as knowing that gringos tienen dinero.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Let's not kid ourselves here.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's my disclaimer first. Second, well, it's two things. Like I said, I was saying earlier, I feel like discrimination, racism, homophobia, Islamophobia, all this stuff, transphobia, it kind of is just kind of there in our society, in our culture. There are little things. It's as if it's in our cultural subconscious around the world. More in some places more than others, but it exists a little bit everywhere. Mm-hmm. So I think that what we have to do is try and remember that we live in a society which has these ideas below the surface, which are talked about and which infiltrate and are in the news, which are in the books that we read, in the way that we talk about people, in the way that we report the news, and the way we report what's happening. Yeah. You know, a lot of it is just ignorance, in my opinion. I think it's just a lot of people being ignorant and smart people using that ignorance to gain power. That's all it is. Yeah. It's just a bunch of dumbasses who refuse to learn anything new and learn the real facts and just trust what they hear from other people that surround them, from the news, from the magazines. And like I said, that racism is subconscious. It's all there. Yeah. As for individual acts of racism, I mean, of course, it's important that we think about it and reconsider it, and we call a spade when we see something, you know, happen. Yeah. When we see, you know, for example, you know, oh fuck, I want to build a wall with Mexico. That's like, what's like, who the fuck are you? Have you even met a Mexican? Yeah. Do you even know who the Mexicans are? Do you even understand that have you ever had to leave your own fucking country just to make a bit more money, to make a better life for yourself? Exactly. Have you ever starved in the street? Have you had people back home to support? Exactly. It drives people to do anything. Yeah. desperation will drive you to do anything. So it's just like, oh, they're just fucking ignorance. As for, like I said, individual, I think you got to call a spade a spade. You got to go up to it, but I think that it's important also that we come together in solidarity. We have to come together as people, as humans, to try and address this issue. Yeah, I mean, and so as for like single acts, strength in numbers. You have to affront it. You have to recognize it, and by having people in a community around you that are going to support you, going against this and saying this is a racist thing, this is a transphobic thing, this is a homophobic thing, this is a Islamophobic thing, anything. If you have people, if you have community that'll be there to back you up, I think that's probably one of the only ways. Like I said, I say this as someone who's read a lot, who hasn't really been on the receiving end of it. But that's what I would recommend. Okay.
Hi Gloria, how are you doing? So this is Gabrielle, and I'm giving you my response to the question that you had asked me on Sunday, I think. So since I've been here in Colombia, or in Latin America in general, I have not really experienced racism, but I could talk about it from my experiences at home in Trinidad. So just to give you some background, in Trinidad, basically the politics is kind of divided racially. Like all of the Indian people would vote one party and all of the black people would vote one party. There's like a very small margin of overlap, right? And because of that, around election time especially, things could get very heated between the two races. Like Indian people would say really nasty stuff about black people, and black people would say the same, right? So like how I deal with it is that like I really don't like that situation, so I kind of just try to keep myself out of it. I don't participate in racist conversations, because in the same way that I don't like people calling people of my race like dumb and uneducated and stupid and all of that, like I wouldn't like that for other people. So I just I don't participate in those conversations. And when it comes to like relationships and stuff, because of certain experiences that I've heard about in Trinidad, like I actually prefer not to like date somebody of Indian descent while I'm in Trinidad, right? Because their families, the families of Indian people, especially if they are Hindu, they tend to be very nasty when a person of African descent comes into their families. Like for instance, you would be treated differently. Like the children would be treated differently. Like they might, let's say it's Christmas time or something. The Indian family might like buy really, really, really nice stuff for the pure Indian children, but children who are mixed, they might get like this kind of second class treatment and like second class gifts and stuff like that. So I told myself that, I really don't want to get involved in a relationship with people of Indian descent in Trinidad, because I find myself, being very suspicious of them. And, I wouldn't want to have to go through that kind of treatment, like the whole kind of second class treatment. And I also would not want my future children to have to deal with that. So, yeah.
Racism is real, and the best way to deal with it is to ignore. Secondly, another best way to deal with it is to always stand out, to always defend yourself when you're being attacked. You have to love who you are, love where you're from, because most times we are being attacked based on our nationality or our color. All what you need to do is to be able to stand out, to love yourself, and to be able to show the world that you're unique you're different and you're blessed in your own way. I, for one, I have been attacked several times based on my color. They doubt you based on your nationality. From your nationality, they attack your color. They doubt your qualifications, they doubt your abilities, and they doubt everything about you. But what I want to tell you is, when you face situations like that, you have to stay focused. You don't have to lose your stand. You have to know what you want and where you're heading to. Love yourself and ignore the hate. For all those who think they are superior than others, I am sorry. Not minding the race or the color, that we are all in this world. We are unique and we are different in our own way. The only one superior being is God, and you can never be above Him. So guys, please be proud of who you are and ignore the hate. Thank you.
And then I have a message to the white supremacists. You see, last night, this girl, she's actually my boss. She was going on and on about Africa, about black, dark skin. The racism was really like hell. And I called her, girl, I'm going to tell you something. You see, if I should mourn about what is happening here, I will cry for how much value you people place on skin color, and not on lives, not on values, not on skills, not on morals. I would cry. And I want to make you a promise, I told her. I told her sooner than one day, Africa, this third nation, race, especially Africa, is going to rise up. And it's going to rise up in a way that you can imagine. I told her, I said, one day, a day sooner than you expect, another Gaddafi is going to stand up for Africa. And then he can't be stopped. And I promise you, one day, you will have to cry over what your generation and generation past has done in terms of racism because of skin color. And I went ahead to tell her, my confidence can never ever be tampered with, no matter what you do. I went ahead to tell her how much I love my skin color, how much I love Africa, how much I love my country, Nigeria. In the next world to come, I want to be born in Nigeria as an African with this skin color. I don't want your hair, it's fine, but I don't want it. I prefer my short hair. I don't want your long hair. I want to be able to style myself because I love fancy things. I want to be able to change my hairstyle from long to short, from curly to straight, from weaving to stretching. I want to be able to do all those things. I don't want to have your skin color. It gets old quick. It ages quick. I don't want to have that skin. It's beautiful the way you have it, but I prefer the one I have. So let me tell you, in every ways, I feel more unique than you are. I feel more beautiful than you think you are. And nothing you do will ever change this fact. And I'm sorry the way I said it, but that was how I felt because I had it up to here. So I hope you guys get the message. The message is, please learn how to deal with racism, how to accommodate them, how to make yourself still not feeling down, don't let them suppress you. Don't let them tell you you are not good because you are unique, you are so good, you are better than who is trying to make you feel that way. That person is only trying to find a way to make you feel less of a human being, because already he knows he is less of a human being. So he's trying to have a revenge on you. And I hope you guys like and share this video so it will get to every white deck grace. Thank you.